Hello, hello, hello. Oh my gosh, I am rushing to get set up. Give me a second, guys. Excited for tonight. Also, very busy. Oh my gosh, chat isn't even showing up on the sidebar. You guys are showing up on a different page, but I did a whole lot of layout changes today, which means that everything will be screwed up for a bit. So, bear with me. Oh man, okay. I'm like, oh, let me fix up some stuff and then wait till stream to see if it actually works. Just give me a second, I'm working on things. I'm gonna check chat in just a second. This is too funny. Okay. Let's try that. See? Let me see. What are you guys seeing? I'm so curious. Oh. old prompt. Write whatever you want for the prompt. Oh my gosh, I am so behind. I didn't even change the prompt. Let me go do that. Does it matter if we have 2 minutes left? What prompt do you guys want? I'm rushing. You'll see the prompt for all of 2 minutes. The prompt will be chat. What's your favorite ice cream? There you go. Okay. Once I have a second to breathe, I'll go check chat. Just give me a sec. Just give me like a little more than a second. It's like when guests are coming over and you just woke up from a nap, but you haven't cleaned anything in the house. And you wake up 5 minutes before the doorbell rings and you're rushing to clean everything up. That's what's happening right now. Let me jump in the chat and finally read who's here. Taryn, what is up? Ekid P, New Juju 299, yo, what's up? Sailing Master, welcome back. New Juju, yes, I just changed the prompt. Tell me your favorite ice cream. Let me see here. Who else is here? Cloudion, howdy. Black flag flying, nice. Neil Morrow, ahoy. Jason, hello. Welcome. Nikhil Tyagi, hello. There's so many exclamation points. Thank you so much. I heard Black Flag is just basically oneD&D. We're gonna go into what Black Flag is once we get to it. Chocolate chip, wonderful. I like chocolate chip. Elk Crossing? I have never heard that flavor before. Not once in my life. You gotta tell me what's in that. Is that anything like Moose Tracks? Because I know Moose Tracks, but I don't know Elk Crossing. Vanilla with chocolate syrup, good taste. Vanilla with peanut butter. I like peanut butter and ice cream, but I find that my peanut butter freezes quite a bit. Vanilla is a good one. Lots of vanilla up here. Best ice cream is Rocky Road. I do agree. Rocky Road is top 5 for me. Gotta say. I don't know what my favorite is right now, but Rocky Road is definitely up there. Rakuja, I have pretty strong opinions on the Black Flag playtest. I don't yet, because I haven't read it. So, you can express your opinions once we get into this, which is right about now. Come on, transition. Hey! Nice. Okay. Welcome to the Black Flag stream. Let me make sure. Oh my gosh. Okay. Content review. There we go. Okay. Welcome. Now, usually, I'm such a mess. Oh my gosh. Well, usually, I cover on Mondays, I cover a new TTRPG, which has been my goal for the past couple of weeks to cover new tabletop RPGs. But we have to remember that the reason that started was because of the whole OGL business at the top of this year, where Wizards of the Coast threatened to change the original open game license to make a whole lot of stuff less accessible for third-party creators. And thus, in response to that, Kobold Press and a number of other third-party publishers helped start Project Black Flag. Project Black Flag is an effort to do something, and we're about to find out what that is. Because, let me see here. Oh my gosh, why? It hasn't transitioned. Yes, maybe? Hello? Okay, cool. I'm gonna turn that transition thing off. This is the website. So we're gonna read the website. Hello? Maybe? Hello? Okay, give me a second. I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing with my stream. Let's do a BRB. And then we'll go back. Oh, that'll do it. There, perfect. Okay, so we're gonna... I'm such a mess this stream. We're going to read this this opening page, which explains what Project Black Flag is, so we know the intent of the playtest document that they've recently released of the first inklings of the direction they're taking for this project. Cool? Makes sense? Awesome. Okay, we're gonna go from there. Now, I've read a little bit of this. I've highlighted what I think is important in blue, and we'll go from there. I can zoom in all the way, and with this new layout, you guys can see everything, right? You guys see the whole left and right side? Fantastic. Oh, that's so good. Nice, 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 nice. Okay. Well, let's start reading what this project is. What is Project Black Flag? Project Black Flag is a code name for a larger series of efforts by Kobold Press to update, streamline, and publish a core fantasy RPG based on 5e Dungeons & Dragons. This includes the core fantasy roleplay rules released and available to all under an open, perpetual, and irrevocable license. It also includes 2 core books coming to Kickstarter in 2023. Project Black Flag maintains core compatibility with 5e products you already know and love, but with a Kobold spin. The new books aim to embrace 5e and expand upon it. Our goal is to keep 5e products vibrant and valuable both in print and on our VTT partner platforms. Project Black Flag is one step in making this a reality. Okay, couple things here. The goal is to take 5e Dungeons & Dragons SRD 5.1, which is a document that has a whole lot... It's a system reference document with a whole lot of the basic foundations of Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, and the goal of Project Black Flag is to build upon it, make some changes to the system, and use that to make, and what it says here, open, perpetual, irrevocable license to use that as the foundation for future projects to come. The goal is to stay relatively compatible with 5e products that are already released and to expand upon it. So think of it as like, I guess the best way to describe it is 5e plus is their goal. They're not going for oneD&D, which is an entirely separate system, which also claims to have backwards compatibility. The goal is to take 5th edition, tweak it, and then make whatever they release a new available foundation for people to release third-party content on top of. That's the idea as I understand it. They have here why they're doing this. First of all, they're saying that 5th edition core rulebooks will stop being published, and they want to make Project Black Flag a digital thing available for people who want to use it. The SRD is incomplete. They're looking at, if anybody's looked at the 5th edition D&D system reference document, it has a couple of references to the content that comes in the player's handbook, but as they say here, it only includes 1 feat and 1 cleric domain. The things that are available to players is very, very limited to, you know, just give people an idea of what D&D is, but not the entirely full content. They're saying that the goal of this project is to make a more expansive SRD that people can tap into. And Kobold Press is mentioning that they have a reputation for good third-party content, as the Tome of Beasts is a long used and recommended a resource for monsters and the such. They're saying here that this is basically a response to the situation with the OGL, that this is community focused, and just like how D&D has persisted throughout the last decade, they want this to be community inspired, driven, and focused. And we'll take that as it is. So Project Black Flag isn't a new game. They're saying that it's not. It's not a new game. What they're doing is they're taking 5th edition, changing it enough that it's distinct, but still recognizable as 5th edition. Again, like it's like 5th edition plus. If anybody, and this is going to be a deep cut. Some people in chat will know this, but some people won't. If anybody's played Project M in comparison to Smash Brothers Brawl, it's a modded version of Super Smash Bros. That hopes to implement different concepts and change around the characters and make it more fun, but still keep the same roster, same stages, yada yada, and build upon it. It's a very different direction from where Smash Bros. 4 went and Smash Bros. Ultimate went, but it's still based on the core foundations of Smash Bros. Brawl, but enough that it's not really considered the same game. It's one of those situations. And if anybody knows what Project M is, then your family. What do you mean by streamline? The goal, see, here's the kind of where people are not agreeing with the direction of Kobold's Black Flag project. It says we're doing 5e but changing stuff that needs to be changed. Obviously this sentence is subjective, and we're trying to do it in a way that keeps current 5e books and games useful. This is what we mean when we say the mystic words backwards compatible. Tricky topic, because backwards compatible is very difficult to do if you're trying to change anything that is foundational. Basically, you're saying that a whole lot of things that are released from here on out under the foundations of Project Black Flag can work for both Black Flag and 5th edition. It's a tricky balance, and sometimes I find that projects trying to be backwards compatible end up compromising the true flexibility of game design, and that's a whole thing in itself. It says when we change things, when we do, we will include clear instructions to help you keep using existing 5e resources that might no longer be a perfect fit. Right, so they're going to try to reconcile things along the way of things that don't quite match up with the original design of 5e, and obviously that's going to be a road bump if they're trying to quote-unquote improve 5th edition. In general, Kobold Press wants to use more straightforward language, reduce complexity, and organize information in a more user-friendly way. Cool, that's good, because, consider the older books from 2014, 2015 are a bit scatterbrained in how they set up things, and we'll see what that means. Here is their big picture streamlining goals, and now I can zoom in on this because I've properly fixed my layout. Make the rules easier to read and understand, provide rules to reduce GM burden, rebalance a whole lot of existing elements, so this is kind of the touchy one, right? Especially feats. Provide opportunities for PC to make meaningful choices at higher levels, make spellcasting cooler. It's kind of subjective. Keep combat interesting. And says, wait, you said 2 core books. They're going to kickstart 2 books, one for GMs and one for players. Cool, so like a player's handbook and a game master's guide. In terms of the playtesting process, the reason we're doing this is because we received the playtesting packet number 1. We ask you to test the waters, provide feedback. This will take place over several months. A new playtest packet releases each month, leading up to the Kickstarter. Now, this is cool, I guess, but don't be in a rush to do this. oneD&D said basically the same thing, and they've released maybe 3 documents in the last 5-6 months. So like, they say it's going to be each month, but if you need more time to process the survey information and actually put it into practice, take more time. If you want this to be like an eternal project to exist on the internet forever, you don't want to rush the process. That's just my 2 cents on it. And this is the same process the oneD&D goes under, yada yada. They're going to check, there's a review process of the feedback and make changes where needed, yada yada. Playtest timeline. They already have, they have March packet, April packet, May packet, June packet, August packet. So, I mean, this isn't the end of the playtesting, right? But their intent is to get wizards, fighters, clerics, and rogues done and playable, which are like the 4 base classes of D&D, which is neat. It's gonna be a couple of monsters. They're already really good at that, so I'm not feeling stressed about that. And spells. They're gonna try to nail down spells, which is a huge undertaking. That's over 100+ spells just in the player's handbook alone. So I'm curious in how that's gonna happen. They have a month to do it. We'll see how it goes. And we can play test here. We have the playtest packet ready to go, and you can review it as you want. It's called Heritage and Talents, and that's what we're going over today, which I haven't read yet, but I've heard generally good things about it. So this is their goals, which I don't know, which I haven't read yet. So let's find out what this means. During character creation, a player chooses their character's lineage. You're going to stick with lineage here. Lineage in D&D already has a couple of meanings. You can go look at the Gothic lineages. The Gothic lineages are, in particular, Hexblood, Dampier, Reborn. That is one term of lineage. In oneD&D, they started using lineage to mean more like sub-races, so to speak. Probably like hill dwarf, mountain dwarf, things like that would be considered lineages. So here they're trying to redefine lineage as the replacement word for races, which is fine. It's fine. Yeah, lineage traits include special senses, sizes, and movement speed. So this is just a new term for race. Great. Next, a player chooses their heritage. Heritage is learned features called heritage traits. So this is things like background and equipment proficiencies. Interesting. So will this be more like background features, or will this be like because I'm guessing this is not tied to your lineage. I'm assuming this is unique and different choice. So similar to how Pathfinder handles ancestry and background, which I now know because I'm learning the game, this is like entirely separate from your lineage, which is neat. Cool. It's kind of like what you grew up with. Let's see. A player can choose any heritage for their character. Yes. This ability allows mix and match, allows characters to create custom backstories. Sure. It's filling in where the backgrounds feature was, is what I'm getting. Like being raised in an adoptive society. Yep. Oh, okay. So the choice of lineage, heritage, background. Okay, so background is a separate thing from heritage. Interesting. So there's lineage. Lineage is things you're born with. Heritage is things you grew up with. And background is something different? We'll see how that goes. Disposition? Profession? What is disposition and profession? Are these like new terms? What does that even mean? Okay, maybe this is something else. I don't know what this means, but I'm sure we'll find out soon enough. No longer influences ability scores. Instead, a player determines their character starting ability scores. Yep, this was started in Katasha's and is a good practice. Allow your ability scores to be entirely separate from anything you choose in heritage, background, brace, yada yada. Fantastic. Talents versus feats. Okay, so this is something I've been hearing about, but I don't know about quite yet. So this is going to be interesting. Feats were eliminated in favor of the new talent system. Okay, this makes it easy to create and improve versions of the feats that are not in the SRD, which is all of them, yeah, except for Grappler. Grappler has always been a silly choice to be the one feat that people can see because it's severely suboptimal. Great. We made some global improvements as well. To summarize how talents work versus feats. Talents are not an optional rule. They're a core part of the game. Yeah, interesting. Cool. I dig this. I kind of dig this. I don't know why I don't ignore the highlighter color. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all, honestly. I'm just picking colors that I think are cool. Into 3 categories: martial, magic, and technical. Each class is tied to one of the 3 talent categories. Players who choose a talent for the character's improvement must choose from a list that matches their class talent list. Interesting. So are we assuming that the 13 base classes are tied into these? That's weird. I mean, it's not weird. It's not, because like technical is, I'm assuming, rogue, bard, maybe, and like bard it falls into magic, right? And rogue falls into martial. So like, will classes have more than one category? Maybe there's a way to pick up one of these categories like along the way, depending on the subclass you choose. Like maybe Bard's College of Swords could be like martial and magic and technical. I don't know how this is going to work, but this is an interesting choice. I'm curious how they're going to tackle this. Players who choose a talent for their character's improvement must choose from the list that matches the class talent list. Sure. Every background granted talent during character creation. Oh, okay. That's neat. So this is cool. You just kind of are born with one. But wait. Oh, okay. So I'm guessing these talents are like universal. As in, they can be taken by any of the 3 categories. Because that wouldn't make sense to have the background tied to one of these 3. Sure. We're reworking backgrounds. We removed the lengthy and redundant traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws table from backgrounds. These were kind of neat. I'm not going to lie. I enjoyed these. Because, you know, like, it helps with backstory. So unless they're putting this somewhere else, I actually just really appreciated the tables, and I wasn't bothered that they were long. Like, I never used them, so if I needed them, I'd use them. But if I didn't need them, then I'd just ignore them. It's not really annoying. Okay. They are replaced with a single adventuring motivation table that encourages players to look forward instead of backward when creating character narratives. It's not bad to look backwards, though. I don't really understand why that's a bad thing to look backwards. Okay, whatever. This is a weird thing to have a problem with, because this is like totally normal to have a backstory. Let's reclaim all that page space eaten up by lackluster tables. Well, so like we haven't opened a playtest packet, right? Like this is only a problem for publishers, right? This is only a problem for publishers to care about page space. I know that some TTRPGs are very long. They're very lengthy and kind of cumbersome, and reading through all of that is very painful. But if you're planning to make this online, it doesn't really matter. It only matters if you're reading the core book. I get it. This is a concern, but it's not like when you say let's reclaim, I'm like, I don't really care about reclaiming it. But more stuff is more stuff. We love when books are long. But okay, so we're gonna open up this playtest packet and get to reading. I already have it open, and this is an opportunity for me to go to chat as I open up this playtest packet. This is 12 pages, so it shouldn't be that bad. Let me go. There you go. Cool. And then let me check chat, because it's been a while since I've looked at you. Oh my gosh, so many people wrote. Okay. It's a better version of 5.5 D&D. You are streaming. Yes, I know I'm streaming. To be fair, I believe they've been working on Black Flags for some time. Great. They've been working on it for a while, since summer of 2022. Githyanki one says hello. I hope they get to make an appearance. I think it's going to be a long while until they get to make an appearance, but you know, it's good to be hopeful. If this is like Level Up, I enjoyed Level Up Advanced 5th Edition. I think it's full of a lot of really good ideas. And I think Black Flag is going to be pretty similar to that. Not in terms of like design, but in like, that's their energy. Cool. It's what Pathfinder was to 3.5. Yeah, that's fair. Nivnov, you made it. Hey, welcome. Fallen Phoenix 4, welcome back. Awesome. Okay. Cool. Yeah. What's really fun is that when people mention, oh, it's like Pathfinder stuff, I'm almost there. I almost get it. But let's get to reading the first ever project playtest packet of Black Flag. And see what it's all about, because I'm so excited to find out. Okay. The deadline to review this is 27th. Today's the 20th. Oh, we got a week. Cool. From the top, this is 12 pages. Let's do this. Thank you for your interest. Yeah, you're welcome. Backwards compatible. Yep. Still don't know what that word means. We're going to find out. Alternatively, you can easily swap the options presented to this for any of the existing 5e options. So is it... I think the goal is for this to be optional, like feats are optional. You know? Like, heavily recommended, but You can go without them if you want to and just play 5e normally. Player characters created during this are slightly more powerful than characters created using 5th edition. Sure. Okay, I mean, we'll find out, right? You're just kind of saying this, but this says this is intentional. That's good. Any of the 5th edition's race and subrace combinations can be substituted for any of the lineage and heritage combinations. Okay, so heritage is supposed to mean subrace. Sure. Okay, sure. That's good. What is core fantasy role playing? Is this like the sub name? Is this the name that they're using before the thing comes out? Cool. Welcome to the labyrinth, the fantastical infinite universe of infinite worlds linked by twisting corridors of magic. Here you will find realms like Midgard, Hades, and dreadful domains, and homebrew creations tied together by the mysterious will of the maze. These countless worlds rarely resemble one another on the surface, but all have one unifying truth: heroes shape them. So is this like new lore? I mean, that's neat. I mean, do we need it? But I mean, that's cool. So I'm guessing this is what they're going to base, like, anything referring to the cosmos, which might not be SRD. You will have these instead. Cool. Okay. So basically they're saying, hey, the Great Wheel is off the table. We got to come up with something new. So here's the labyrinth, which is neat. I don't mind that. That's fine. So core fantasy role-playing is a placeholder name until they come up with like the proper name. I'm assuming they're not staying with Black Flag. Great. Cool. I know this stuff. I've been playing D&D for a while. Great. Roll the Game Master. I know that. Roll the PC. I know that. The dice. I know this. I know this. Other tools you need to play. Core fantasy role-playing Monster Vault. Game Master Guide. And sure. What's in this book? We'll find out. Okay, so a lot of this is just like, you know, the basics. That's good. Less reading for me. Character creation, playing the game. Core fantasy in a nutshell. Great fantasy worlds of magic, heroic adventures, unique locations, power structures, conflict. Cool. I know these things. I know these things. Step-by-step character creation. Create a character concept. Yes. Cool. I know this. I know this. A lot of this is good. I mean, it's good to have in any book, but great. That's neat. Choose a class. Classes first? Okay, sure. Class features, proficiencies, that has not changed. Build suggestions, that has not changed. Level. Let me pop out chat, because I can't see you guys when I'm reading. Okay, I'm getting the impression a lot of this stuff at the beginning is all bog standard, which is good. Less for me to think about. Cool. Cool. Level is the same. Wait, I can put you guys over here. Sorry, I'm configuring chat behind the screen. Okay, great. Level. The same. Hit points. The same. Proficiency bonus. The same. Listen, we already done with 2 pages? We're so good at this. Ability scores. The same. Yes. This is all the same. I mean, this is good. Great. Cool. Less to learn. We're doing great, guys. We're doing great. Point buy exists. You start with 32 points to spend on your ability scores? Wait, is that? Huh. Interesting. Point buy is different. Point cost. So this is new. We can highlight this. Green. Can we make green new? No, we'll make orange new. And then green is good, red is bad. No, we'll make yellow is new. Great. The point cost of each potential score shown on the point buy cost table. Score of 12 costs 4 points. 18 is the highest, but you can't have a score lower than 8. Okay. I mean... Oh, okay. Okay, so... Let me see if I can glean... Let me see if my designer brain can do this. 32 points. You can start with 2 16s and go. So you can go 8, 8, 8, 8, 16. No, you can't. I'm not smart. Cost 16. Okay, so yeah, you can go 8, 8, 8, 8, 18, 18. Okay. If you can do that, does that mean you can get level 20 at level 1? Do you get ability score points at level 1? Because then you could start off with a 20. I don't know if that's intentional. I guess we'll find out, right? If you can... 18 is the highest ability score you can start with, and you can't have a score lower than 8. Does it, when you say start with, does it mean that... I think we have to figure out if... We have to figure out if heritage... Or if anything else gives a +2, right? Because then you can get to 20 at level 1. But if this is saying 18 is the highest ability you can start with, is it saying you can start with 18 from point buy and then get higher than that through your choices? Or is 18 the highest you can be at level 1? Because there's a very big difference between that. Otherwise, I mean, we've seen this before. Cool. Okay, whatever. We'll find out soon enough, right? Standard array, you can assign your starting scores. Assign one of the following numbers to each ability score. So this is different. It used to be 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8, I think. 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8. So this 16 is new. Okay. Choosing. Jason says, if you have an 18, you can't add the +1 or the +2 you read on next. Highest you can be at level 1. Okay, so this, if they're saying that 18 is the highest you can be at level 1, you have to specify that. There has to be, like, here, it has to say, like, highest at level 1 is 18. Because this is not clear. Great. Choose a lineage and heritage. Sure, that's race and subrace. Okay. Well, let's look into it. Choose a background. Backgrounds, I'm assuming, are very different. Skill proficiencies, talents. Yeah, there's... Just like oneD&D, every background now comes with a feat. Which is, you know, a decent design. I like it. I enjoy that. Fill in the blanks. Right. Honestly, if you're a new player, this checklist is intimidating. This is an intimidating checklist. After I've played a couple more TTRPGs since the start of the year, this is a long checklist. But, you know, that's okay. Yeah, I gotta figure out how we get ASI in this system. Because it seems we can get pretty high at level 1. Remember, in D&D, 5th edition, the highest you can start off with is 17 in any stat. So there's no such thing as an 18 at level 1, unless you're playing like the custom lineage from Tasha, which is weirdly a possible +3 in one stat. But with the rules of point buy, you can only get up to a 17 in 5th edition in 99% of cases. But okay, gaining levels, sure, experience, whatever. Getting hit points, same thing. Great. None of this has changed so far, so this is all good things. Great, cool. Leveling methods, tracking tree. I'm pretty sure this is the same. I've never really used XP tracking to a significant degree, so I can't tell you if it's changed. Oh, I sneezed and heard it. I tried to mute myself. I'm so sorry. Tracking milestones. I just missed the mute button. My bad. Tracking milestones. The second method for leveling characters. Oh yes, Jason says no. Enrolling high starting score is 18. Yes, but enrolling is a different ball game, and that hasn't changed here. You can roll for an 18 and get a 20. That's true, but if you're using the point buy system, which is what most people go by in a fair game, this lets you go to 20 theoretically, but you know. We'll get to it. We'll see if it's changed. Tracking milestones, we know this. Yeah, we know this. Lineage and heritage. Okay, this is where things start changing. Love at page 6, which is great because that means that we don't have to read 5 pages. While humans are most common in most settings, when you create your character, you choose whether your hereditary traits are human or one of these fantasy lineages. Sure. Elements of a lineage. Thank you. I cast bless. Thank you. Age, sure. Size, sure. That hasn't changed. Speed, the same. Your heritage dictates certain abilities you have because of your connection to a society. Heritage includes cultural elements. Yeah, sure. That's good. Okay. So if you want to play a typical dwarf, you're likely to select one of the heritage options listed in the dwarf section. However, you can choose any heritage you wish from any section. This is neat. I like this. So like, so what I'm assuming, it's like, hey, these are the dwarf lineage features, and then you can choose from one of these dwarven heritage things, or you can choose from any you want matching your backstory, which I think is nice. That's cool. Because, you know, dwarves raised by elves or elves raised by humans, yada yada. It can be interesting. That's good. I like that. Alignment is not changed. Languages, common +1. This is standard in oneD&D. So they're matching oneD&D in this state. Heritages give you more languages. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so we're getting into actual stuff here. Dwarves are a hardy people. Obviously, they can't mention any of the dwarven gods because none of that is SRD. Great, cool. Dwarves were sculpted from the earth itself and given life from the forge of a progenitor god who will remain nameless in this document. Regardless of whether myths are true, the first dwarven civilizations were built below the world's surface. Feeling, I can zoom in even more because you guys can read this now. I'm surrounded by the abundance of metals and minerals, mastery of stoneworking and metalworking. A lot of these first dwarves and stuff. I've always found it interesting how dwarves, no matter how far delineated they are from their like genetic abilities, they're always somehow tied back to stones and metal, which is like theoretically should be like a cultural thing, but both oneD&D and this have made that like a truly genetic situation, which is interesting. So here we're going to look at lineages. Lineages will be the genetic traits, and then heritage will be the societal traits. So let's see if they're properly delineated. Dwarves are spread across many worlds, innate resistances, poison. Okay, so the lineage thing should be all genetic. Dwarves, 350. Yeah, cool. They consider themselves young until they reach the age of 50. So do I. Dwarves stand between 4 to 5 feet tall. Sure. Base walking speed 25. Interesting. So I don't know yet if all races have 25 feet or 30 feet, but this is a short distance. oneD&D has gone the route of making everyone have 30 feet, which is good because a lot of the game revolves around 30-foot distances. I'm not quite a fan of short distance running, and 25 feet is a bigger deal than most people think in 5th edition. But we'll come back to this and see what happens. Night vision, you have superior vision, 60-foot dark vision, that's good. And the same. Dwarven resilience, resistance to being poisoned, resistant to poison damage, dwarven toughness. Oh, cool. You have like a mini tough feat. Has this always been a thing? I don't know. That's good. And this is standard. Great. Cool. So those are all genetic traits. That's good. So these are heritage options. And theoretically, dwarves can pick one of these or one from any other race. So let's any other lineage. So let's see how that goes. Fire Forge heritage traits. That's neat. Also, this is really cool, like fontage. I really like this font choice and the setup of that. Characters who choose. Thank you, chat. Characters who choose this heritage were raised with the values and traditions of Fireforged dwarven clans. The best metal crafting is done in the fires of the earth itself. Volcanic activity, that's cool. So far I like this. They're doing real good at not using any proper nouns, which is great for an SRD. Fireforge communities, great. Fireforge communities maintain good relations with elemental creatures, coming to their aid when needed. That's neat. In return, these elementals assist Fireforge clans against giants, dragons, and other volcano-dwelling creatures. Cool. I can compete with them. Alignment. Interesting. Okay, so they've gone with the choice of saying that heritage implies alignment, which I have feelings about. Not good feelings, but because are you telling me that I mean lean is good, but I mean I'll have to see the rest of them, and if any of these are like these people are typically good, I'm like okay, if you say so. Yes, culture denotes like disposition, but you know you can't just generalize people like that. Expert, you gain proficiency in glass blowers or smiths. Your PB is doubled for any ability check that you use. It makes a cert. Doubled. Oh, so this is expertise. Cool. Oh, this is cool. So it's like literally expertise at level 1. Okay, I'll give this a green. I'm pleasantly surprised. Resistant to fire damage. Dang. That's good. This is good. This is like the best thing you can get level 1. And you can read, speak, and write Ignan. Okay, so it basically boils down to expertise and fire damage. Okay. You can speak Ignan. That's another language. So that's 3 languages. People have a deep connection with elemental fire. You know the mending cantrip. And can cast it as an action. Wow. It's a fast cast. That's interesting. However, you can use this trait to repair objects made only of metal. Oh, cool. Okay. But wait. What if you're... Boo. Okay, so wait. So you're... and I'm going to be nitpicky here. Okay, hear me out. So you're telling me I could be an expert in glass blowers tools, but I can only use the mending cantrip on metal? Excuse you. Listen, if you break your vase, your glass vase, if you break your glasses... I want to be Hermione Granger up in this, and I want to be able to mending your glasses because I'm an expert in glass blowers tools. And I'm not going to take no for an answer. This is silly. How are you going to say I can be an expert in glass blowers tools but only let me repair metal? Silly. And then this is implied with this is every race. And that's cool. Typical creatures of this heritage choose dwarvish. That's neat. oneD&D also does like, hey, we recommend you do this, but you can actually do anything you want. And I appreciate that. Yeah. Okay. so this gets silly, right? This is why it's kind of funny design. You should have to combine expert artisan with reforge if you want it to work with glass. Because then people can be like, oh, I have expertise in glass blowers tools, but I can mending cantrip metal. And inversely, oh, I have expertise in smith's tools, but I can mending cantrip glass. Yeah, that's where design gets tricky. I would combine these two and say, if you have proficiency in if you have expertise in glass blowers tools, you can mending cantrip glass, and smith's tools, mending cantrip metal. But you know, then it gets finicky and kind of dumb sounding. So brevity is beauty. Stone heritage. Cool. So stone dwarves. Value tradition. Oh, this is where they're going to say they lean lawful, right? And champion the deeds of the ancestors. Remember, see the people of the stone are instructed in the traditional dwarven arts of smithing. Happily devote their lives to mining and working precious metals. Okay. The members of the stone dwarf clans take great pride. Life in their cities is far from easy. Their caverns occupied by stone are under constant attack. Yep, makes sense. Cool. Yeah, they'd say lean lawful or good. Excuse you. No. You're telling me that if you live in a mountain and you're constantly fighting underground dwelling monsters, you're telling me that most of them lean good? No, you're training everybody to fight and kill, right? How are you gonna tell me that's good? I guess it's like noble to protect your people, but also you're trying to stake your claim in a place that doesn't belong to you. So, I don't like alignments of good or evil implied, especially in this situation where nothing here implies that any of these people are good. They just like precious stones and making cool things. Yeah, that's weird. Proficiency in battle axe, light hammer, and ward hammer. Cool. Dwarven armor training. Interesting. Heritage. The metagamer in me is saying, hey, I want to be an elf wizard, but I also have the heritage of dwarven armor training because I grew up with dwarves, quote unquote. I actually just really want armor proficiency. Additionally, your speed is not reduced by wearing heavy armor regardless of your strength score. Tool proficiency, sure. You're telling me this is like hereditary? This is like cultural and not genetic? Interesting. Tool proficiency, sure. I have equality. Whenever you make an ability check related to origin metalwork or masonry, you can add your PB. So yeah, why do they get 2 choices? And they're not even proficient in smithing. None of these guys are proficient in smithing. Why do they have an eye for quality? It's very funny. Oh, okay, cool. So if you do have expertise, which you're going to get somewhere else and not from this heritage and not from your lineage, then you can double it. You have expertise for a skill that you don't get from any of your sources for these things. That's a choice. That's a choice. Okay, and that's it for dwarves. Sure. So stone heritage, fire forward heritage, and dwarf. I like the lineage stat block. I'm not a fan of 25 feet. Not a fan of 25 feet at all. Fire damage sounds fantastic, and I do like expertise level 1. I think that's a cool choice. This should use glass, or have an option to use glass. Eye for quality is like never ever going to be used. I guess it could. Never mind. It's flavorful, but like it's so niche. And this is super good. And a lot of people are going, unless this is more readily available at level 1, a lot of people are going to be like, hey, I grew up with dwarves, so I can wear armor like this. Even if I'm like 2 feet tall and eat no meat ever, I can walk around with heavy armor because I grew up with dwarves. And that's a choice that I don't necessarily agree with. Okay, cool. Okay, I mean, I'm obviously everybody's gonna have their different opinions on this, but I, as a 5e player, has never really been a fan of this feature in particular. I think it's very good in a way that encourages metagaming in terms of you're compromising the backstory of your character for a powerful feature. Not the biggest fan of that. But I mean, look, but if you look at this, like a heritage, growing up in a volcano makes you resistant to fire. That's strong too. And that's not a bad thing. So I think my opinions are very subjective. I don't think they're rooted in like what's actually good in the game. This has never been game breaking for me. It's just kind of been a weird thing to have. But okay. We're going to bounce over to elves. Elves are the wizard's favorite species. Because they're amazing and incredible at everything. So we'll see how they've been altered here. They're an ancient people, not tied to the Seldarine at all. Immortal, populated by immortal creatures. Oh, right. Deep ancestral ties to a magic realm is populated by immortal creatures. We can't tell you what those realms are, but they're full of immortals. Regarded as the first mortal beings, sure, to ever walk the earth. Made mortals so they could be stewards of the newborn land. Huh. Sure. Is this like, oh, I made myself mortal to fit in with the people here? Because if you really wanted to be a steward, you could live forever. But It's kind of a weird sentence. No other thoughts on that? Yeah, mortality is a punishment. Well, so is immortality too, now that I think about it. Beautiful cities and inherently rich in magic. That's cool. Little change about the elven people. Even elves born to communities far removed from elven cities eventually feel compelled to visit the natural spaces so beloved by their ancestors and are driven to seek companionship amongst other creatures. This is a good prompt to, like, get people moving. But I always like when the lore of a race it provides a reason for them to adventure. And this is good. Where it's like they live a long time to get lonely. And that's fair. 5 to 6 feet tall, walking speed 30. Okay, so the dwarves are just naturally slow. Bummer. Okay. Night vision. They can't call it dark vision? Okay. Won't question it. Keen senses. Magic, ancestry, trance. Okay, they haven't changed. Yeah, they haven't changed. Let me think. Keen senses, Fey ancestry, trance, dark vision, speed, size, age. I think that's everything, right? Yeah. Okay. Elves are pretty much the same. That's good. Cloud heritage. Okay, we're getting spicy here. I'm curious. I'm curious. Hey, welcome, Archmagister. So cloud elves. What makes cloud elves so special? Let's find out. Many accounts concerning the origins of the elves have been spun, and almost all are deeply intertwined with tales of magic. In a time long lost to memory, a group of elves clung fast to these tales and named themselves mages, stewards of the magical forces that course through the cosmos. These elves were the first of the cloud elf tribes in the towers. By the way, every time there's a new name, I just assume that whatever used to be there was copyrighted. So I'm assuming high elves, drow, wood elves, and Shatterkai are all proper copyrighted. So these elves were the first of the cloud elf tribes, and the towers they built to study the mysteries of the skies eventually became the heart of thriving cities. I dig that. Tall cities, cool trait. The many elves dwell within towering cities, striving for ever greater understanding of the people. People from all over the world have been drawn into these cloud communities, eager to study the arcane parts of the finest magic academies. Oh, magic academies, cool. And simply to dwell among kindred spirits for whom magic is the center of their world. Cool. So it's like, hey, we are elves. We like magic in the sky. So we built tall towers to live in, and you can live it. That you can live there too. So I can. So this paragraph is like, this is why people who are not elves would be here, and I think that's neat. Lawful or neutral. I still feel some ways about this alignment thing, but you know, unless there's something really cool at the end of this doc, then I'm not totally feeling alignment. But interesting. Touch of magic. You learn a cantrip of your choice from the school of magic. When you reach third spell, you choose a first level spell from the same school of magic. Choose a third level spell. Whoa! Whoa, this is strong. You can cast them at their lowest level. Once you cast spells long rest. Sure, this is good. Interesting. Yeah, well, look at that. Cool. So this is, they've actually managed to add a little bit of brevity to classic features of subraces. So like this is very similar to Genasi, where Genasi can learn a cantrip, a first level spell, and a third level spell at levels 1 through 5. This is something that's not necessarily new, but the fact that it's so flexible in what you can learn. So if you choose like evocation, you can get firebolt. You can get firebolt here. You could get what's an evocation first level spell? You can get Thunderwave. Thunderwave first level, and then here you could just pick up fireball. Like dang, that's crazy. Also, you can go abjuration. Are there abjuration cantrips? I actually have no idea. But here you could take shield, and here you could take like. My metaphor is falling apart. But the flexibility of this is actually intense. And if this is setting the precedent for how strong heritages are. Every heritage has had one really strong trait, which is cool. Like Fireforged dwarves had resistance to fire. Cloud elves have this flexible casting magic. And obviously the stone dwarves had the armor thing. Usually here they would say you can also cast this using any of your spell slots, which is something that oneD&D and Mordenkainen's has put into practice, but they don't need to because it says right here you learn them. Since you learn them, you can use them whenever you want. That's really cool. It comes to the caveat that you can only ever cast them at their lowest level. So this is actually an interesting design point, because that means if you learn Thunderbolt, or not Lightning Bolt from this feature, then you can't upcast it. You can never upcast it. Yeah. So oneD&D usually includes a sentence. You can also cast this spell using any of your spell slots, which allows you to upcast them, right? But this feature only allows you to cast them at their lowest level, which is like, hey, you can only learn it this much, but you can't really study past it, which is, you know, a little bit strange, but it's a design choice. But yeah, I like the flexibility. I think that's actually really neat from a design standpoint, and this maybe unintentional limitation of not being able to upcast it is also a unique choice. Anyway, proficiency, cool. And 2 additional languages. Oh, so they don't limit what your third language is. Typical creatures of this heritage choose Elvish and Draconic. Why is it Draconic? You didn't say a lick about dragons. Yeah, none of this lore had dragons in them. Interesting choice. Okay, kind of a strange thing. Yeah. If anyone's saying, "Oh, it's so weird to get a 3rd level spell," you guys haven't played Genasi's. They get 3rd level spells up the wazoo. So, it's just like the wizard signature spell, only 1-time cast. Sure. Okay. Blade Ward is an abjuration cantrip. Well, that's kind of the problem, Gumantath. You got to take Blade Ward. Draconic. Oh, here people are telling me Draconic is the standard language for magic script. Oh, okay. So dang, 4 people corrected me in the span of like 5 seconds. So Draconic is the language of magic. I, having started in 5th edition, don't know about the lore, so that's very interesting to know. Thank you so much. Grove Heritage. Oh, there's another. I forgot. There's another elf. Grove Heritage. So this is like forest elves, I'm guessing. All right. Place your bets. Will they have +5 movement speed? And Mask of the Wild. Some choose to dwell in forests, drawn by primordial music. That's cool. So this is like the druidic elves, whereas these are more arcane leaning. Yeah, that's the vibe I get. That's really cool. They lean towards good. I have opinions. Beast affinity. You can speak with beasts. That's cool. I like this. Climbing speed. Oh, whoa, look at that. Climbing speed equal to your walking speed. That's a good issue. So each one of these heritages has like one signature very good feature, and this is this one. Compared to the other 3, actually, this is probably a little weaker than most, because you can't really build a character around the climbing speed, whereas the other 3 are very much strong and buildable. Okay, cool. Great. Yeah, there's not much to talk about here, because this is decent, this is flavorful, and this is good. And this is whatever, because it's always had this. And these are fine. And there's a garbage truck right outside my window. So we're just going to have to deal with that, if you guys can hear it. Grove Street. Grove Street Elf. Yeah, I mean, it's very cool. Yeah, so like, yeah, I agree. Like, why did weapon proficiency move to like these druidic elves? Why didn't they get access to like shillelagh and druidcraft? And I don't know. This seems like a weird thing to give to them, is what I'm saying. But I mean, to each his own. What did these guys get? Did they get that? No, they didn't. They got a spell. Okay, sure. Talk about humans. Hey, we're on page 9. We're almost done. Humans are the youngest people of the world. Innate tenacity and adaptability has allowed them to quickly spread. Right. Humans inevitably leave their stamp on the world wherever they go, seemingly possessed by a natural drive to fill their short lives with long-lasting achievements. This is actually my favorite piece of lore of humans in D&D. The fact that they live so shortly, because their lives are so short, they're driven to achieve, and I think that's just the coolest thing, especially if other races don't understand why they're so driven. This is so fun. I think in a magical world it fits right in. Cool. Okay. Age makes sense. Size makes sense. Speed makes sense. So this is, oh dang, everybody's a variant human. Get a free talent. Okay, that's a choice. Nomadic. Okay, nomadic heritage for humans. Let's see what that gives them. Neutral lawful. Why would nomads be lawful? There's nothing about nomadism that would imply that they obey city laws. Whatever the case, people of nomadic heritage are well suited to the rigors of travel and often possess an intuitive understanding of environmental cycles and the hazards of benefits that come with them. I don't know. This is silly to me. I know a lot of people who travel, and they're not very tied down to laws. It's not a knock on them. That just means they're free, which is awesome. It's literally the loudest truck outside my window. It's crying. It's crying for help. I can't do anything about it. And you might be able to hear it every now and then. It's like a whale sound. Anyway, resilient. You have advantage on checks and saves made to resist debilitating weather effects. This is cool. I like this kind of stuff. I don't think this is something you could build around, but I actually think this is really cool. Additionally, when you complete a short rest, you reduce your exhaustion level by 1. I believe this is a level 10 new ranger ability called Tireless. Once used, you cannot reduce your exhaustion level this way again until you complete a long rest. Cool. They made it limited. That's neat. This would imply that they want... Oh my gosh. This truck is very loud. Can you hear that? Tell me if you can hear that. Cool. So it's not abusable. That's great. Survival skill. Common. Compared to the other heritages, this isn't very strong. This is very situational. This is cool, but it's very situational. And this would imply that there are ways to gain exhaustion so that you could even benefit from this. Just waiting for the truck to stop bellowing like a whale. Yeah, so I really actually like how oneD&D handles exhaustion, giving it 10 levels and just having demerits on your checks and saves. I wonder if Black Flag will take the same route, but otherwise, if exhaustion stays exactly the same, I don't see it coming up too often. City humans. Cosmopolitan heritage. Cool, so these people live in cities. Great. Typical creatures of this heritage tend towards chaotic or good alignments. Again, kind of weird. Street smarts. While in a city or other urban environment, you and your group can't become lost except by magical means. That's fun. While you're in such environments, you also can't be surprised except when you are asleep or otherwise incapacitated. I've lived in a city all of my life, and I'm surprised every day. I don't think this is real, but it's a funny thing. It's a funny thing. Worldly wisdom. Whenever you make a check related to understanding the purpose or significance of a building, right, or object from a culture you aren't familiar with, you can add your PB to the roll. What is cosmopolitan? Maybe I'm just Influenced by exposure to many different types of peoples and cultures. They're missing a period here. Most commonly, creatures of... I can make that red. Most commonly, creatures of this heritage hail from major cities populated by people from many different parts of the world. It could also mean you spent your formative years moving from place to place. This is nomadic. You literally just had a whole heritage about that. Moving from place to place. Okay, so they're saying you're worldly. You, like, know a lot of people. Doesn't mean you can't be surprised. You can add your PB to a roll when understanding the purpose of a building you aren't familiar with. You have a proficiency in a relevant skill or tool. You can add double. Okay, this is fine. This is fine. And that's it? Okay. The human heritages seem a little weaker than the other ones. Just a little bit. It's hard for me to think of how useful these would be, especially after reading a lot of very useful heritages. So, like, if I was a human and I wanted to min-max, I wouldn't choose any of the human heritages. I would probably be raised by elves and just have a lot of really cool spells, because this is like tangible power and not like DM dependent power. Are people following? Am I doing this okay? I feel like I'm jumping around, but like I'm seeing what's interesting, and these heritages are cool, but like implicitly imbalanced against each other, which I don't know if it solves any problems rather than makes them. Because after reading these, if these were the only things available in the Black Flag project, I would never choose a human heritage, because it doesn't seem like it would benefit me unless the DM wants it to benefit me. Like Cosmopolitan in particular is very specifically like the DM has put me in a difficult spot and I have to use these to understand the story they're trying to tell. Like Worldly Wisdom is very much DM dependent to make you stand out. And so is this. And so is this. But like elves with spells, fam, I can go every different direction with this. This inspires creativity, which is neat. And this climbing speed is neat, and talking to animals is neat. It's not as strong. Obviously, Fire Forge takes the cake in terms of like what I believe to be very strong, which is resistance to fire damage. I guess that is DM dependent. But this is also very good. This is like build defining. And it's weird to have a build defining ability among many heritages that don't have build defining abilities. But to the credit of 5th edition, all the backgrounds are balanced, right? The backgrounds are balanced against each other, barring a few very specific exceptions that are setting dependent. But like, I don't know. I'm not too sold on this idea. It's a good idea, but I'm not too sold on it. Now, these are proper backgrounds. 2 skill proficiencies. Neombra says not everyone is a min-maxer. Yes, but if you're given the entire spectrum of heritages to choose from, it's equally as important as choosing your class and your lineage, because it affects your build, and that's significant to a lot of people. A lot of people play D&D because they care about numbers and stats and builds, and like it's hard not to be tempted, so to speak. Like, at least with backgrounds, I've never tempted to choose something. And in sub races, I get it. Sub races are like actually very limited in scope because you have to commit to a race to choose a sub race. But like here, if you have the whole world, every time a heritage is released, people have to consider, oh, should I put this into my background to achieve a certain build? And I think that's kind of weird. But that's an opinion, and that's not opinions that don't have to be right. Skill proficiencies, 2 skills, great. Additional proficiencies in languages, great. Equipment, great. Talent, 1 talent from a short list of options, cool. I will say that oneD&D has that you can take 1 feat from a very short list of feats, unless you pick a background that lets you take 1 very specific feat. So This is going to be interesting. This is kind of the same direction that oneD&D took. Adventuring motivation. Great. Cool. So backgrounds in perspective for D&D, at least old D&D, at least old 5th edition D&D, I should say, because old D&D is totally different. Old 5th edition D&D backgrounds were inconsequential. They gave you something that was flavorful, and you chose them because they fit your character, not because they changed your build at all. And that changed a little bit when it came to settings and stuff like that, but you know, let's see how this goes. Also, they said they wanted to shorten backgrounds and get rid of useless tables, so let's see how that goes. Time spent immersed in academic pursuits has honed your mind, allowing you to view the world through an intellectual lens afforded to few people. Cool. If you're a new graduate, eager to learn, retired teacher. Yeah, this is great. Just a very simple description. 2 skills of your choice. Cool. Additionally, 2 languages. Wow, that's interesting. And 1 proficiency in type of tool or vehicle relevant. So that you're just the learning guy. So 2 skills, 2 languages, 1 tool proficiency. And that's it. Oh, no, there's more. There's more. Oh, cool. Wait, it expands. There's like sub backgrounds. Oh, no, this is the talent. I'm so sorry. Talent. It's polyglot, school specialization, or trade skills. So this is like a feat you would get. Cool. And these are all being balanced against each other, I'm supposing. That's neat. Adventuring motivation. Okay. So this is one table describing why you're traveling, and that's cool. I'm not going to say no to simple tables. That seems useful. I do like how explicitly niche some of the 5e tables were, where it's like I read it and I'm like, oh, this inspires me to make a whole new background. Sometimes tables are like, I ran into a goblin and he gave me a magical weapon and a purpose, and I'm like, oh, well, I would have never thought of that. let me try to make a backstory out of that. So I like when tables are wildly weird and they inspire me to do things. I think Van Richten's tables were really good at that. Van Richten's tables were like, you've been afflicted by a moss-covered witch and require the help of a fairy to be free. And they like bizarre things like that. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I can grab onto that. These seem pretty darn generic, which is not bad, but I don't actually know how it compares to 5th edition tables because I never read those either. So cool. Okay. Scholar's cool. It's got a lot of learns. You're a learned dude, which makes sense. I guess it does kind of surprise me that the scholar from the PHB backgrounds didn't implicitly know anything more than other people. They just had a field of study that was implied and no mechanical advantages to it. So yeah, nice. Okay. I'm very curious what these are, and maybe they'll mention it by the end of this. We only have 3 pages left, so maybe not. Let's go soldier. Cool. 2 skills of your choice. Makes sense. These are good choices. Proficiency in land or water vehicles, and 1 tool of your choice. Oh, so... Okay, so scholar learned 2 skill proficiencies, learned 1 tool or vehicle, and 2 languages. So they're basically saying that one of these proficiencies is equal to 2 languages, right? Because this is saying proficiency 1 tool or vehicle, and soldier saying 1 tool and vehicle in the exchange of one of these proficiencies in 2 languages. So they're saying 2 languages equals 1 proficiency, which isn't entirely false, I guess. Yeah, cool. Okay. And talents. Choose a talent from the following list to represent this experience. Armor training, combat casting, and combat conditioning. Okay, I need to know. Do they have feats in this? They do. Cool. Okay, cool. Cool. I was going to say, like, they could mention these cool sounding talents and not tell me what they do. Okay, adventuring motivation. Pretty straightforward. Yeah, cool. These are just like, hey, this is why I'm leaving, but no details attached to it. That's perfectly fine with me. Oh, and here, that's it. That was all the backgrounds. Great. So let's go into talents. So as I understand it, your background gives you your level 1 talent, and they're split into magic, martial, and technical. When a character chooses their background, they select one talent from a list of options provided. When a character class gains an improvement, they can choose to increase a single score by 2, 2 by 1, or choose a talent. So again, in this, talents are, unlike Pathfinder, which I've learned, ability scores are, it's an or system where you either get ASI or you get a talent. Sure, that's fine. The same thing as 5e. Magic talents. Combat casting. So this is, what do you guys get? Polyglot, school specialization, or trade skill. So Scholar doesn't get any of these. Wait, Scholar doesn't get any of these. Soldier does. Prerequisite, the ability to cast spells. Okay, so immediately my power gaming goblin was like, okay, so I'm gonna go. So let me see. I'm gonna go human lineage. Grab this one talent of my choice. Get the elven heritage. Where is the elven? To let me cast spells, and now I know spells, which will let me take combat casting without having to go soldier. Which may or may not be optimal. Probably not, but that's very funny. So I immediately thought like variant human with elven heritage combat casting feat. And that's not even going into my background. Then I can go into my background, choose scholar, and then get another feat and get another talent. All right, well, typical 5e shenanigans. Experience on the field of battle has given you superior focus. You automatically succeed on con saves, so you make it here. Whoa! Dang, this is strong. You automatically succeed on con saves you make to maintain your concentration on the spell if the DC is lower than your spell casting DC. What? That's so good. Oh wait, it's just con saves. Oh, it's just for concentration. I mean, that's still good. That's still very good. Cool. Auto succeed are very strong words. Let that be known. When a hostile creature first enters a space within 5 feet of you and provokes an opportunity attack from you, you can use your reaction to cast a cantrip. There's a warcaster? First enters a space. Okay, cool. I think this is already like something we're used to. That's fine. You can use a shield or weapon you've been holding as a spellcasting focus. Yes, this is a warcaster. Okay. They buffed this. This used to be just advantage, right? Am I crazy? This just used to be advantage? And then these are the same. You can use a shield or weapon you are holding as a spellcast. Oh, weapon or weapon. That's cool. As normal, you can use the same hand or hands holding this focus to perform spells. This is good. Okay, so they properly understand hand economy, which is good. Okay. Elemental Savant. Again, prerequisite to cast at least one spell. As we know, you can just take Elven Heritage to be able to do this. Yeah, it seems like the route to become a Gish. So if you go like full fighter, like for 20 levels of fighter, but you go Elven Heritage, then you can take all of these features. Which, I mean, is not optimal, but it's like a Gish, and people love Gishes, right? You guys love Gishes. Choose one of the following. Oh, Warcaster doesn't limit it to cantrip. That's a good point. Choose one of the following elemental types. Whenever you deal damage, you can convert the damage type of that spell to your chosen. Oh, this is nice. I wish this was more available in 5th edition. Just the ability to convert damage types. I love that. You must decide to convert the damage type when you declare the cast spell. Additionally, when you roll damage for a spell that naturally uses your chosen elemental type, you can reroll any ones. Oh, naturally uses. Okay, so there's still merit to taking spells that deal your chosen type. That's good. I like that. And you can convert them all to one elemental type. Yeah, this is cool. Like for me, I hated trying to be an ice caster in D&D, but I only get like 2 spells. So I could just take this and be cool and turn everything into ice. Yeah, this is neat. This is neat. And I'd still have a reason to take Cone of Cold because this exists. Nice. Mental Fortitude. Who learned Elemental Savant? Not this guy. This guy? No, neither of them do. Scholar and Talent don't get Elemental Savant. Okay, so there's just some feats that just straight up can't be taken by these bases. Okay. Mental Fortitude. Once per long rest. When you fail. Okay. If you're affected by an ongoing spell, you can repeat the save at the end of each of your turns. Even if the ongoing magic effect would typically not allow you to do so. Huh. This is actually very interesting. This is actually really interesting. Because this is like you can get out of maze with this, right? So maze is 8th level spell, automatically sends you to a maze, and you have to roll intelligence check as an action every turn to try to escape. But when you have this, you can roll that intelligence check, and then... Oh, wait, no, you didn't fail a save. You can't use it on maze. Okay, so you have to fail a save. Got it. You have to fail a save. Yeah, this isn't bad. But I mean, like, for a lot of spells, it won't matter. This only really affects, like, banishment. Yeah, this allows you to avoid, like, spells that you only roll when they hit you. So this is, like, another way to get out of those. Okay, I could see it. I could see this being useful. This is, like, a late game kind of spell where you're, like, where you know what kind of campaign you're in, so you got to take this to survive. That's fine. Really interesting one. Doesn't actually throw off the balance of the game, which is nice. School of Specialization, again, take that Elven Heritage for this. This is what I mean. Like heritages will dictate builds if they're too strong implicitly. Cool. Oh, +1 to spell attacks from a feat. That's really good. When you cast a spell, DC +1. This is really good. Wait, this is too good. Oh my gosh, this is too good. Maybe I gotta see what else they make, but this is really good. This is you have a +1 modifier to your spell attacks and save DCs at level 1, barring any magic items. That's very good. It's very good. There's a natural curve to this game. This is very good. Yeah, dude, this is so good. Okay. You can take this out multiple times? Oh, okay, wait. They gotta specify that you could take multiple schools. because I'm gonna take this every single level and just keep picking evocation like 8 times. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. How funny would it be, right? If you go fighter, so you get a feat at a human fighter. No, yeah, human fighter. Human fighter, Elven Heritage. So you get a feat at 1, 4, 6, 8, 12, 14, 16, 19. That's 8. And you just take this 8 times, and you get a +8 to your spell attack rolls and +8 to your save DCs. Yeah, you gotta specify the school, fam. Come on. Come on, specify the school. So I can't go +8 in evocation. It's very funny. Oh, and I get Fireball from the Elven Heritage. So have fun with a level 19 DC 24 base Fireball before magic items. But the +1 to spell DC is limited to the school you take it to cast for. Yeah. Yeah. Evocation. You take evocation. I'm gonna take evocation 8 times. This doesn't stop me from taking evocation 8 times. I think it's very funny. Okay. Anyway, martial talents. If someone finds a caveat in this that's false, yes, it is a dumb build to go to level 20 fighter and only cast a one time per long rest firebolt to DC fireball at DC 24. Yeah, that is dumb. But I think it's funny. Also, firebolt is infinite, so you can always have like a plus 12 modifier on plus 14 modifier on firebolt as a fighter. Yeah. Okay. Let's stop picking on that one. Martial talents. Armor training. You gain proficiency with light armor. If you're proficient with light armor. Oh, this is neat. Okay, sure. Yeah, this is fine. You can totally avoid taking this feat 3 times if you just go... What was that again? Dwarven armor training? Oh, you get medium armor from this. So you can skip like 2 steps. If you go Dwarven heritage. I can't emphasize enough. A big point of these playtests is to make sure things aren't busted. So me nitpicking about min-maxing is fair game. It's not obviously the most useful critique, but it is something that you should know when you're done developing this. I'm not speaking from a place of like expertise because I've never designed anything. I just played a lot of D&D, so I know where I would abuse this. But it's important to know that not everybody plays the game like this. Not everybody cares about min-maxing, and that's valid. That's a valid way to play the game. But if as a DM, I have to know what my players will take advantage of because they're very well versed in the game. And when something seems like it defies the natural, like, implied ceiling or floor of an ability, if it's a natural outlier which seems contradictory to what the game is enforcing, then you gotta nitpick it, gotta talk about it and see if it's really okay or if it needs to be adjusted. When wearing heavy armor, you get a +1 bonus to AC, and each instance of bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage that you take from non-magical attacks is reduced by your PB. That's cool. I've never been a fan of how 5e handles non-magical attacks because it doesn't scale very well unless you're fighting dragons that are implicitly non-magical. I know you guys said that dragons are like the core of where magic came from, but in late game D&D, dragons are one of the few monsters that don't have any inherent magic. Their fire breath isn't magic, their attacks aren't magic. Like, sure, they're very much tied to magic, but this is the only time that it's one of the few times that non-magical attacks actually applies in very late game D&D. So like, this is an early game feat, and it's pretty good. It's pretty darn great. Like, reduce all bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from 2 to 4 all the way up to level 9. That's great. That's actually really good. Actually, up to level 13. That's pretty darn great. But then after that, this feat is much less useful. But yeah, I like this feat. I think it's interesting. It's got its purposes. Combat conditioning. You've endured intensive training to withstand the physical rigors of combat, making it harder to cut down. Oh, it's durable. I mean, not durable. It's tough. Is there anything more? Oh, cool. Whenever you gain a level, your new hit die is 1 size larger than your class typically grants. For example, a wizard with this talent would gain a D8 for their new hit die, instead of a D6. You also use a D12 hit die when you gain this talent. This feature has no effect. So, wait. Your HP maximum increases by 2 for each level you currently have. Okay, so this is backwards growing. So when you take this feature, if you're leveled 8 and you take this feature, you get +2 HP for every level you already have, which is good. That's how tough already works. But this is forward moving, as in this doesn't apply to all of your other hit dice. So if you gain this at level 8 as a wizard, your hit dice from levels 1 to 7 will be a D6, but 8 onwards will be a D8. And then when you roll for HP, you're going to roll that 1 size larger. So you'll get the bonus to rolling a bigger hit die for your health, or having a higher average, so to speak. And you'll get +2. So it's kind of like a +3 per level. is +2 per level for all of your previous levels, and a +3 per level moving forward. You know, it encourages you to take this as early as possible. It's basically it's like a roundabout way of giving you +2 con. Does that make sense? But it's like a worse than +2 con. It's like tough with a forward affecting +2 con, because you're gonna get +1 HP from your new hit die every level moving forward. I think this is weird only because it makes tracking your hit dice a little more confusing. If the intent of this game was to be clearer, I think in the description of this game, or at least the website said, "Oh, we're gonna make D&D make more sense, or like clean up things." This is unintuitive. Yeah, I think this is the weird part. If you're gonna go this route, you might as well just say like all of your hit dice. Oh my gosh. Yeah, this makes my brain hurt. I don't like this one. I think it's cool. I mean, I could see it put into practice and it makes sense to me, but I think it's unintuitive, and I think thinking about it is going to be hard for a lot of new players. Hand to hand. Oh, this is just a boxing feat. That's great. Proficient in unarmed strikes. Cool. Bludgeoning damage equal to 1d6 plus your strength. Cool. Cool. Isn't there a fighting style that's better than this? No, fighting style gives 1d6 punching. Or is it 1d8 punching? I can't remember. You have advantage on ability checks made to initiate or escape a grapple. Neat. That's good. Yes. No, everyone is proficient in unarmed strikes. Am I mistaken? Everyone's proficient in unarmed strikes. It's just that the die is the size of 1. Right? I'm not crazy. People aren't proficient in improvised weapons, but everyone's proficient in unarmed strikes. Yeah, that's kind of weird. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm squinting at the screen. You guys can't see it, but I'm squinting. This is kind of strange. But they're clarifying just in case. You don't need to clarify. This is taking up a bullet point that is supposed to be an advantage, but it's like saying in a fighter. Oh my gosh, that's. It's like saying you have hit dice. Yes, you have hit dice. You know, you don't need to tell me I have hit dice. You know, this is known. Yeah, I don't know. This is kind of redundant, but this is pretty standard. This comes in a lot of natural weapons, and this is okay. This is okay. Okay. And technical talents. Okay, cool. Is this the end? Oh, yeah, this is the end. Okay. Polyglot. You have studied language extensively, allowing you to effortlessly communicate in multiple languages and puzzle out critical information from languages you don't know. When you select this talent, you can gain the following benefit: 3 languages. Great. This is like linguist, but the linguist was just this. You have advantage on charisma ability checks made to interact with non-hostile creatures for whom any of those 3 languages is their primary language. Huh. Oh, cool. So the purpose of taking this is to communicate with newly discovered threats, right? Because, well, not non-hostile creatures. I'm trying to I'm trying to think of a situation where like you're in a campaign midway through, and you want to take this feat. Why would you want to take this feat midway through a campaign? It's like when you go to a new country, right? Yeah, like the face of a campaign, the face of the party would be encouraged to take Polyglot if you're arriving in a new territory, and to like help you get around. So you can make use of charisma, like make use of a good persuasion check, and speak to these people. Okay. That's reasonable. But like 3 languages, if it's taken for that situation, usually only need 1 language, and the other 2 are kind of bonuses. But I guess you could be like current threat versus future threat. Okay, whenever you make an ability check related to understanding the meaning of a verbal or written language you don't know, you can add your PB to the roll. If a proficiency, you double it. That's great. This is actually a really nice feat. I like this. Yeah, I like this. It's very niche, but I like this. But so was linguist, right? Nobody took linguist because, unless they really liked languages, but this at least has like practical roleplay benefits. Trade skills. You've honed the skills necessary to perform a particular job or profession. When you select this talent, decide what that profession is, and then gain the following benefits. Gain proficiency with 1 skill in one type of vehicle relevant to your chosen profession. Alternatively, gain proficiency in 2 types of tools or vehicles. Okay, so it's skill. I like the value system here. So 1 skill or 1 type, or 2 types of tools or vehicles. Oh, okay. So they're just trying to make sure that you don't get 2 skills. Because I was going to say 2 of any type of skills, tools, or vehicles. But they very explicitly only want you to get 1 skill or potentially 2 of the others to a maximum of 2 proficiencies. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. There's no real better way to word that. Provided you have access to necessary equipment and customers, you can spend the day plying your trade and expect to be paid 2 GP or paid with goods and services of equal value. Expect to be paid 2 gold? Kind of weird. I don't know any campaigns where 2 gold scales at all past level 5. I don't know. I don't know if I like seeing a static amount of gold, paltry amount of gold in a feat that should be relevant throughout the entirety of a player's campaign. Yeah, strange choice. Okay, and I think that's it. Look at that. We made it. That's everything. Well, it helped that 5 pages were just things we already knew. But yeah, chat, tell me how you feel about that. Yeah. Okay, so what time is it? Oh, we're over time. Okay, so basically, my opinion on this is that it seems like a good start. In general, it seems like a good start. They really understand they really understand the SRD and its limitations. They understand like what is missing from it, and this is their interpretation of what to add to it. So, what I ultimately imagine this is going to be is an expanded, and I think this is their goal, is an expanded Creative Commons foundation to making 5e content. And a lot of this seems very optional. And I don't know how many lineages they have in mind or classes they have in mind and how expansive they want to make this. I'm guessing significantly, but they've already redesigned 3 of the base lineages. I'm trying to remember the terminology they used here. They've already developed the idea of heritages, which still feels a lot like sub-races. I don't think it's delineated enough to feel any different from that. And I think heritages is off to a rocky start because they differ in power levels to the point that it's significant, that I would very much consider being of another community to benefit from, especially when a lot of level 1 feats are relevant to knowing how to cast spells. And there's still some talents here I don't think maybe they have, but I don't think it's possible to please everyone with this, which is fine. But I think everybody has to understand what they're trying to make. which is a new foundation, or at least a more developed foundation, or yeah, does that make sense? So it's not a new game. This is very much still 5e. This all seems like optional rules, like an extension of a DMG. And that's not a bad thing. I think there's things that they have to clarify, but obviously in every playtest there should be things that are fixable. A lot of the things they should change are very small, in my opinion. And again, I'm not a designer. I'm not a game developer. I'm just somebody who's played too much D&D. Maybe. But I think it's pleasant. I think it doesn't enthrall me in the same way that other TTRPGs do at the moment, or oneD&D did. I think there's a lot of work to be done, and I see where they're coming from, but in my point in time, as someone who's trying to step away from 5e, this isn't going to convince me to return to it in anytime soon. I still play 5e all the time, but like, if you look at something like, and this is going to be weird to plug at the end of Project Black Flag, but if you look at like Level Up, the Advanced 5th edition, there are so many interesting things they've done to the classes. And interesting as in it gets my mind spinning, right? Like I start thinking about new things to do, or thinking about new builds or possibilities. And that's really what is fun about these little mods and stuff, that your mind spins in ways it didn't used to. This has a lot of things that I am already familiar with, and it's very comfortable in that sense, that I can see these in play and not be too thrown off about it. But there's not too much here in the first document of several that makes me really think, oh, this game is now more exciting than it used to be. But rather, oh, you can play these things in red or yellow. And that's what it comes down to for me. But yeah, I understand this won't be for everyone. I believe this is just the start of a very big project, and I am encouraged to keep following it. And I think that's what they're looking for. So I'll probably send back some feedback that they'll get from other people as well. I won't have anything too revolutionary or game breaking, and I encourage you guys, if you guys are interested in this, to send them feedback as well. There's a lot of strong opinions in the D&D community at the moment, and I'm sure the chat we have here today is not any short of it. But yeah, that's fine with me. All right, thank you guys for watching. If you had a good time, cool, come back. If you didn't, that's fine too. Have a good night. Bye guys.